said, when she said,
Hey YouTube, it's your girl Simone, and today I wanted to give you a new video, and this video is going to be my 5 tips or advice for any beginning artist, or even if you're already an artist, they are reminders. Okay, so tip number 1. My first tip is, and I made like I took some notes in my dory, and this is a handmade dory that my mother made for me. I wrote down, like, not even no notes, I just have what I'm going to talk about here. So tip number 1, the first thing I like to tell you, if you're like trying to be an artist and you want to draw better and paint better or whatever you want to do, the number 1 thing that I feel like is important is to allow yourself time. A lot of people come to me and tell me like, oh, I want to draw better, I want to do this, I want to do that. But when they like, okay, draw something, let me see something, some of your work, and then they show me something, I'm looking at them like, how long did it take you to do that? Like, let me guess, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 tops? And most of the time I'm right. So if you want to be an artist, and if you want to draw better, and if you want to like really do it, you need to allow yourself more than like 5 minutes. And I'm not saying like every day either. Tip number 2 is to train your mind's eye. Drawing is a lot about the artist's perspective on things. So really, art can be whatever you want it to be. Art, like, you can draw something, paint something, do whatever, and say this is art, and then somebody can say, oh, that's not art. But like, art is subject to the person who's drawing and who's the artist. And you know, it's not math. It's not 1 + 1 = 2 and that's math. That's not what art is. Art is whatever your creativity, energy is telling you to do. So art to you may be something different from art to somebody else. So, but besides that, an example that I'm like, what I really want to talk more about when I say train your mind's eye is that you really, when you're drawing something, for instance, like portraits is like, I would say my number 1, like my top skill. Like what I do a lot is portraits, and I've been drawing as long as I can remember. And I remember my first painting that I did, that I won like a first prize in the county fair, was a self-portrait of myself, and I was in the 3rd grade. So yeah, portraits is like something that I feel is like one of my skill sets and that I do best. Sometimes when we're drawing the face of someone, when we're seeing the different lines and shapes and stuff, sometimes our mind wants to draw, for instance, they want to draw a line like straight, like the side of my face right here. Sometimes your mind makes you want to draw it like a straight line, and that's something that I see can kind of keep people back a little bit, is because it's like your mind, it's kind of, not saying it's a mind thing, but it's really your mind. Like, you have to train your mind's eye to see what you're actually seeing, how you want to see it. If your style of art is to draw straight line faces, that's fine. But if you want a more realistic thing, then you need to like train your mind to kind of see what you're actually seeing. And 9 times out of 10, a line when you're drawing the face or the body or anything, 9 times out of 10 is never a straight line. Like, it's never a straight line. It's always like a little bend or a little curve, a little angle, and you just have to train your mind to kind of see that, so that you're able to replicate that in your picture or your painting. So tip number 3, composition. When laying out your idea for your piece, you should really take in consideration the composition of the piece and how it's going to look on the page, and really take advantage of the negative space and the black and white spaces on your paper or your canvas, because that can too add an element of interest in your piece. So sometimes, like, the boring thing to do is just put like if you're drawing a face, to put the face like this center of the canvas. Now that's kind of like boring and stuff, and just having like the perfect like right here, like all equal size, like that's just a little boring. But like I said, if that's your style, that's how you like it, then there's nothing wrong with it. But to make a piece more interesting and to kind of capture or draw attention of other people, it's always a great idea to think about your piece and always like either shift it over to the left, shift it, make it big. Like what I really love doing is doing portraits at a large scale. Like I find that when I'm drawing a face and I do it like on a 16 by 20 and it's just like the face, I get really great results and stuff. Like even though I can draw tiny and small too, but for me I just like drawing large because it gives you more room to work with and work out any areas that may come up. And also it's just, you can see the details more clear and you're able to capture what it is that you're trying to draw in a more like advanced kind of way. Because when you're like working on a very small scale, it may be hard to get all those details out, especially if you're a beginning like this. And again, this video is more so for beginning artists, but these are just my tips and how I feel. I'm not saying what I'm saying is right and you know it's the holy grail or anything like that, but this is just what I have learned through my years of drawing. Tip number 4 is to practice. Practice, 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 practice. If you want to do better at anything, practice is very important. And in addition to just practicing, because I know y'all all heard this before, that practice makes perfect, but my saying is practice with a purpose. So when you're drawing or painting or whatever it is that you're trying to do it every day with the intent on getting better, on the intent of learning from what you're doing. From day 1 when you drew a face to day 4 when you're drawing a new face, kind of compare the two and see where you can improve at and see where you want to work harder at, see what points was harder for you. Like you kind of develop your technique and you develop your own style and your skill sets when you're practicing, but you're like paying attention to what you're doing and you're practicing with a purpose, and you realizing like, okay, when I did like this, it didn't work like that. So practice is very important, but practice with a purpose. Tip number 5. Tip number 5 is to be yourself. Be yourself. Whatever you have inside, whatever you're feeling, whatever you want to do, just do it. Be yourself. Never try to copy somebody else or mimic somebody else. Don't force yourself to be anybody else or to like paint what you want to paint what you like to paint, because a lot of times if you're painting something that you're not really passionate about or that you don't really like, then it's not going to really come out that good because you didn't like it, you didn't want to do it, and people, you can see it in the work. So always paint what you want to paint and do what you want to do. Never feel obligated or forced to do anything else because that's what's popular or that's what you feel like sells or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. If you paint from your heart, if you paint for who you are, it's going to be good every time, 100%, because nothing's better than yourself. So never forget that. So I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you were able to get something out of the video, and please let me know what your favorite tip was and what you feel like you want to work on in your own paint journey, in your own artist journey. So please comment below what your favorite tip was. And also, I'm doing the A through Z celebrity portraits. So if you have any celebrities that you would like to see me draw, please comment to them below, and you may be able to see them in my sketchbook. I post all my work on Instagram, so be sure you follow me on Instagram at Simone_Agusoye. Until next time, peace.